Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Lincoln to Local. I'm Krista Carroll, and today we will be covering a brief legislative update, including updates about the marijuana legislation and the Drought Commission in Oklahoma. Joining me today is Steve Thompson with our public policy team. So Steve, it's been another week of session, and then with an upcoming deadline at the end of next week, there's been some changes. So could you provide an update as to some of the bills that Farm Bureau has been watching on kind of a large scale?
That's right. The bigger picture items really have dominated the conversation the last few weeks, and as we come into focus nearing the beginning of May, and really when the time the legislature gets serious about setting the state budget and some of the higher level funding issues, whether it is public and private education, that has really been the dominant thing that has locked in a lot of the legislators into negotiations and really fighting back and forth between the House and Senate and the governor's office. And that's extended a little bit to healthcare funding and some economic development incentives that the governor and the Department of Commerce have been working on to cultivate new business and industry in the state. And so all of those things have a large price tag, and that has really caused several other bills to get sucked into that orbit. And so right now, some of those things are in a holding pattern pending further negotiations. And so a lot of interested observers at the Capitol about some of those high-level issues right now.
Drought is a big concern to our Farm Bureau members and farmers and ranchers across Oklahoma, and there's been some legislation this session about drought, including adding members to the Drought Commission. Can you kind of provide an update as to where that legislation is and any other drought-related legislation?
That, as most of our members know, has been a very big concern of ours for quite a while, and we worked a lot last year in helping get the Oklahoma Emergency Drought Commission up and running, and they've gone through several updates and tune-ups as they did their work. And one of the things that I think everybody learned was having only three official board members on that made it very difficult for those folks to discuss and to work out the kinks in that, because if any two of them discussed the commission or its business, they violated the Open Meetings Act by constituting a quorum. And so there is a bill to add two more seats to that commission so that different subgroups could work together on the details to try to make that a little bit better of a process. And we hope there also is going to be some additional funding to address the backlog of projects that commission had dealt with. And when it comes to funding, there's also another bill that would work with the Conservation Commission in northwest Oklahoma to target removal of eastern red cedar and salt cedar in hopes of freeing up some more water flow in our streams and rivers that head down throughout the rest of the state. So that has become a much more important topic as we've had a little bit of harsher weather in west and northwest Oklahoma this year.
Yet again, marijuana is still a topic of conversation, and there have been several pieces of legislation filed this session as well. Can you kind of provide an update as to some of those marijuana-related pieces of legislation?
That's right. Marijuana is always our most dominant and sometimes least favorite topic, but we can't go very many days without talking about that and working on that. And there's a couple of bills right now we spend a lot of time with that are advancing through the process. One would require marijuana growers in certain circumstances to obtain a $50,000 bond as part of the condition of their license to address some of the changes we've seen with the growers that might have been involved in illegal activity, just leaving up and leaving in the middle of the night and leaving behind a mess of chemicals and of other environmental dangers that whether it be the Medical Marijuana Authority or the Department of Environmental Quality, one of those agencies or another appropriate agency could draw on that bond to address some more immediate conditions left behind by those folks that set up shop and vanished overnight, as well as a bill that would address the sales tax exemption for marijuana growers. Currently, the Tax Commission considers that a part of the agriculture sales tax exemption, and the legislature is seeking to remove that from the agriculture category and create another category simply for marijuana growers so that there's not those two issues combined. And so that's still being discussed and debated, but lots and lots of discussion on marijuana, it seems like every week at the Capitol now.
Active county members at the state level engaging with legislation and advocating for agriculture is really important. Can you kind of touch on what our counties have been doing up at the state capitol lately?
We've had a really exciting year with Oklahoma Farm Bureau members from around the state coming with their county groups to visit the state capitol and to visit with their legislators. I think we've had 19 or 20 different counties come to the capitol so far in 2023, and there's still a little bit of time left for anybody that would like to do that. We really enjoy connecting them with their legislators and making those opportunities happen. And it's been a positive discussion for everybody involved. And as we get into the spring season, we've had more and more counties that host legislative dinners that we're fortunate enough to attend and connect legislators with back in their home areas. And so it's really a great time for our folks to engage in the process, whether it is just at their county level or if it's traveling to Oklahoma City to the state capitol. And so that's always one of the best days for us as staff around here is when we have Farm Bureau members join us at the Capitol.
And then last week we celebrated Ag Day at the Capitol and an induction into the Ag Hall of Fame of former Farm Bureau member. Can you kind of touch on what that looked like?
That was a really exciting day. The Capitol was filled on almost every floor with agriculturalists and a ton of Oklahoma Farm Bureau members. We had Wife and our group there. We had a Noble County group there, and a lot of our friends and partners from around the state engaging in all sorts of activities. And one of the things that the Department of Agriculture coordinates every year is a ceremony honoring a recipient of the Governor's Outstanding Achievement Agriculture Award, also known as the Oklahoma Ag Hall of Fame, and we were very proud to support our old friend Bob Howard from Altus and his family there, Renee and Senator Brent Howard, and their family were there to accept that award on his behalf, and it was really a special occasion where we remembered our old friend Bob, and he received a well-deserved recognition for his long career in agriculture.
It's been an exciting week, and we look forward to the rest of session. So thank you for joining us today, Steve, and thank all of you for watching this episode of Lincoln to Local.